And this is an EWTN Bookmark Brief. I'm Doug Keck. I just had the pleasure of speaking with J.W. Richards about his book, Eat, Fast, Feast, a Christian guide to fasting, heal your body while feeding your soul. Tell us, Jay, why'd you write this book and what's it about?
Well, I wrote the book because I became convinced, one, that Catholics have quit fasting and we shouldn't have, and we need to take up fasting, or what I call the fasting lifestyle again, not only for spiritual reasons, but for physical reasons. And so I realized that this is something we'd lost as a spiritual practice, but also there's now a huge amount of scientific evidence that fasting is actually good for us physically. And so I wanted to combine both the theology and the history and the latest science on the benefits of fasting.
So does prayer and fasting go together? We remember that from Scripture quite a bit.
Absolutely. In fact, I would argue that prayer is much less effective if it's not paired with fasting. And fasting, to really be all it should be, should also be
And you mentioned the fact that it's something we've kind of lost. You're trying to have us regain it.
Yes.
Why do you think we lost it?
Well, we lost it in part because we got lazy. Fasting does take some work and sacrifice, but also because of what's often called the standard American diet, in which we eat very high amounts of sugar and refined carbohydrates, and we eat very frequently throughout the day. It actually makes it very, very hard to fast. And my argument is that actually we can just make some tweaks over a period of a few weeks, and we can adjust our metabolisms that makes fasting actually really easy to do.
Okay, very good. The book Eat, Fast, Feast by J.W. Richards, available through our EWTN Religious Catalog. EWTNRC.com is a place you can find it. Look for the entire interview coming soon on the network. I'm Doug Keck. This has been a Bookmark Brief. Thanks for stopping by.
I'm Janet Morano, the Executive Director of Priests for Life, and welcome to our program. I hope you enjoyed that little brief I showed you from EWTN prior to starting this show, because that's one of the topics we're going to be talking about today. Imagine fasting. You know, that really has gone out of style for Catholics, and right now I think a lot of people are feeling very discouraged because of the results of this election. And I'm not really going to comment on that much right now. Other than I know so many people said to me, Janet, we prayed so hard. We prayed so hard. But then the question is, did you do any fasting? So today I have a great friend of mine who she and I have been on this journey of eat and fast and pray, like you just saw. And we were praying and fasting for the election. And this is a new year. And so many people right now are starting to make New Year's resolutions. Well, we've got some great things, practical advice. And by the way, I have to start this by saying this is not medical advice. Okay, so it's not medical advice. But I'm going to welcome now to the program my dear friend, Mary Kaminsky. She currently also works at Montclair University in the campus ministry office with Father Jim Kern. So, Mary, welcome to the program.
Oh, thanks, Janet. It's great to be here.
And I know you and I discussed, and Jay Richards there alluded to the fact that, in the Catholic Church, first of all, when I was growing up, I was born in 1952, pre-Vatican II. And in the church back when I was a kid, you couldn't eat from midnight the night before. You had to fast all the way until whatever mass you went to the next day in order to receive communion. Do you remember that?
Oh, that's definitely true. An experience.
Yeah. Right. And I can remember sometimes, especially in the summer, some people would faint in church. Some of the kids, I fainted one time because, you didn't eat from what kid stays up till midnight, right? So as a kid, maybe, you went to bed 7:30, 8 o'clock, because back in those days, we also didn't have all these game things we were playing under the covers, So we were in bed by 8 o'clock normal time. When you got up, there was no breakfast at all. You went to church first and received communion and then had breakfast. So sometimes it was almost 10 o'clock till you having breakfast on a Sunday, right? And that was fasting. And then what about Good Friday when you were a kid? What was it? We really fasted, didn't we?
Oh, we definitely did. In fact, it was not an issue, even if you were a young child. You just
Right.
went most of the day. There was no meat, of course, but it was not hard. And, you begin to think now how that has changed. And why do you think that's changed, Janet? So we can't make it, okay, more than 45 minutes without a snack.
Snack. So, yeah. And well, and that's the other thing too. You can think about all the diets that are out there. And, every new year, I think, whether you're on Facebook or on TV, you are bombarded with all the new diet programs, right? All the new gym exercises and things. And everyone, because they've put on extra weight over the holidays, they're grappling for, well, I got to do something in the new year. But somehow the thought of fasting doesn't even enter their mind, does it?
Well, most people think it's impossible. How could I fast for more than an hour or two? And what's really behind all this is our addiction to sugar.
Right.
We're really, really addicted to sugar, and that's what's causing our inability to fast or to go without a period without food.
Right.
That's really the root of the issue, which is
Right.
something we're going to talk about.
So when we talk about sugar, Mary, let's just define this a little bit for everybody, before we get into the real meat of things here. So most people, when you say, oh, you have to cut down your sugar, right away, everyone thinks of, okay, I'm not going to have cookies. I'm not going to have candy. I'm not going to have ice cream. No desserts, no pastries. That's one whole component. But then there's all the other products that we eat that turn into sugar in our body. So those are the things that are high in carbohydrates, right?
Exactly. Carbohydrates with sugar. And also there's a lot of sugar. It doesn't say necessarily sugar on the boxes or within the ingredients, but there's a lot of other ingredients that are put in foods that really are like sugar. And they trigger, this kind of addiction that we have to,
Right.
we have that.
Well, one of our viewers here, Michelle, she's saying she fasts every day from 7 p.m. till 10 or 11 o'clock the next morning. So yay, Michelle, you're getting it. You're getting it. Because that's another concept. So many people have these snacks after dinner, right, Mary? Like they're snacking at 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Some people are sitting there with popcorn watching TV at night, 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And
Right.
it's been proven medically that's not good for your body, right? To eat at night like that.
That thing, Janet, when you start looking at all this, I really started investigating this. My family has a lot of cancer, and
Right.
I really realized how I had to look into what I could, do to change my own eating habits. And part of the thing with this is that we've been told with that big pyramid, that the carbohydrates and the grains and all these things are the most important. Fat should be very, very small. And we've also been trained that we're supposed to eat every few hours, many, many small meals. But this actually is not, according to science and doctors, the way that our body is designed. And that's why we're having all these issues of gaining weight and not being able to last more than, an hour without some kind of food.
Right. And when you just said that, sugar is what cancer feeds on, shouldn't that be scaring everybody? We're telling you now a secret. And here, there's another viewer here. She just wrote in. She said, Annette Bailey, she writes, sugar is like cocaine. That's right, Annette. And that's what we're saying, because we get addicted to all these products that have high volumes of sugar in them. And the fact is that cancer thrives on sugar, all right? And also, too, it thrives on your blood chemistry being very acidic. Well, if you're eating all these processed foods and all this sugar and high carbohydrate diet, pasta, pizza, rice and all that stuff, you're actually helping your body to feed cancer. And Mary, you and I both have two very dear friends of ours right now who are battling cancer, right? And they've been going to these oncologists and they're getting chemo and radiation. But what I find baffling, Mary, is that not one of their oncologists has ever handed them a diet that says, stay away from sugar and lower your carbohydrate intake, because that's going to feed the cancer, right?
And that's the thing.
Here's another question. Joanna says, I get loopy if I go too long without eating. And that's because, Joanna, you are still have too much sugar in your bloodstream, right, Mary? I mean, because I'll tell you,
Exactly.
Mary's been doing this a lot longer than Janet. I'm the new kid on the block with the fasting. Mary's been at this for a while. And that's why you see you got the newbie and the one who's more experienced. And just a couple of weeks ago, Mary convinced me. Matter of fact, she came with me to Birmingham, Alabama. She's going to be one of my new co-hosts with Teresa Tomeo on the Catholic View for Women when next season comes out. And of course, we ate a lot. You use up a lot of energy when you're producing these shows. So, boy, did I ate a lot. And so Mary convinced me to try, okay, let's try fasting, Janet. From the time, like our last meal was that Wednesday night in December when we left EWTN, she said, let's see now, because you're going to be traveling all day the next day, Thursday. Let's see if you can make it to Friday at lunch. Now, this answers Joanna's thing. The old Janet would have said, now, Mary, come on. My stomach's going to be growling. I'm going to get a pounding headache. I'm going to do all these things. And guess what? None of that happened, right, Mary? And I kept texting her the next day and saying, oh, I'm doing it okay. I'm okay.
But remember, Janet, you had already started to change your diet. You
Right.
already were eliminating sugars and adding
Right.
in more fruits and vegetables and more protein, kind of like a keto-ish,
Right, diet.
where
Yep.
you've eliminated the carbohydrates, okay? So, and you are also doing intermittent fasting where you were not eating your lunch, okay,
Right.
until after 12 noon and then you were eating, the rest of the night, but ending at 8 o'clock. So your body
Right.
was already, geared up for going a
And-
little bit more.
Right. And I was already detoxing from the sugar. Now here's Michelle again, and she said she's 67 years old. Hey, Michelle, I'm 68. Mary, how old are you? Come on, we'll admit our
I'll be-
age.
So
What?
66.
I didn't hear you. Okay, she's
I'll be
66. We're all the same age. So she says she believes in rinsing her gut in the morning with warm, fresh lemons and ginger. Well, Michelle, that's what I do in the morning. I get up, and right before I leave for work, I get out a nice fresh lemon. I have that hand squeezer. I squeeze my lemon. I put it into a coffee mug. People think I'm drinking one of those to-go coffee things. And I boil hot water, and I mix it up. And that's what I sip on my way to work. That's my lemon and hot water as I drive to work. So instead of sipping the coffee, I'm sipping the hot water and lemon.
And lemon, believe it or not, is not acidic. It's very alkaline. Okay, it's one of the misnomers that people may think. So when you actually
That's right.
drink warm water with lemon in the morning, you're not only alkalizing your body, but you're detoxing. It's good for your liver. It gets everything
Right.
going before you start.
Okay, so Joanna's asking a question. Let me put my glasses on to read it. She says, should I start slow cutting down on what I eat? I wouldn't say no, don't cut down. See if you can. Tomorrow morning when you get up, Joanna, just try not eating breakfast. Try not eating breakfast. Get the hot water and lemon. Have that in the morning. And if you take vitamins and anything else you do, and see if you can go from the night before, like tonight, after dinner, by 8 o'clock tonight, don't eat anything else. Try not to eat breakfast in the morning and see if you can make it to lunch. When you say, Mary, that's the first step, right?
It is. But also look through your cabinet. Start to eliminate your refrigerator and
Right.
cabinet with food not good. The junk foods, the processed foods. You really want to kind of bulk up on real food and, fruits and vegetables and things that are natural. Okay. This is a lifestyle. It's not a diet.
Right.
So you're really
Exactly.
your whole eating, and it's a gradual thing. It's detoxing from the sugar, eating healthier foods, and then moving into the intermittent fasting, and then more prolonged fasting.
All right. And Rodney's asking a question. He says, how good is honey as an alternative? I rarely eat sugar. I replaced sugar in my baking and drinks over 10 years ago. Well, again, I think that depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, what we're saying is it doesn't mean you can never, ever, ever have a piece of cake or a cookie again.
Oh.
No. And that comes down to the book. We showed it originally here, and I'm going to recommend this. It's Eat, Fast, and Feast. It's available at the EWTN Religious Catalog, and that's EWTN RC.com, I think it is, or Amazon. And in this book, Jay goes into the whole religious idea of this and fasting. And then he also talks about this program that Mary and I are doing, where the concept is that you pick your days to fast during the week. And then you also, and see, even when I don't do that whole day and a half, every day, I don't eat till lunchtime. I stop at 8 o'clock at night, and I don't eat till 12, 1 o'clock. Now, if I have to go during the week, because of Priest for Life, I have to go to things and events. Well, let's say that night I had to go to an event and I had a glass of wine, and maybe they didn't serve dinner at this banquet or something till 8 o'clock. Well, obviously I didn't stop eating at 8. Instead, I wouldn't eat the dessert they put out, and I'll stop by 9. But then the next day, I'll make sure I don't have lunch till 1 o'clock. You know what I mean? I'll try to push it a little bit further.
When you start to detox from sugar, your cravings are less. You're not going to crave all that you used to want to have, because it's not in your system anymore. And I'm not saying no sugar at all. Of course, it's
right.
But there's a lot we are eating that is full of sugar.
Well, and that was eye-opening for me, Mary. Once I got turned on to this more keto kind of philosophy,
Right.
What I want to challenge everyone to do is, when this program is over, I want you to go to your pantry. I want you to open it up. And if you have any of those protein bars or these bars that everyone's eating thinking they're so healthy and good, see how high they are in carbohydrates and sugar. And see, in order to get your right percentage of carbohydrate, is you have to take how much fiber is in that product, whatever that number is. So for example, let's say the product that you're going to eat, that bar, is 30 carbohydrates, but 5 grams of dietary fiber, then you're actually getting then 25 carbs to eat that item, right, Mary? I mean, that's kind of like how you do it. You have to subtract the dietary fiber from the carbohydrates, but I really think when people talk about too, Mary, this election, right? Everyone prayed so hard, prayed hard. And then obviously we're not happy with the results, in the pro-life movement.
Right.
But my question is, how many people prayed and fasted? I think the fasting component was really what was missing from storming the Lord with all the prayers, but where was the fasting? And when you think Jesus, when he walked on earth, he gave us some great examples. I mean, didn't he go out to the desert for 40 days and fast?
Yeah,
right?
40 nights.
Yeah, 40
And
days and 40 nights.
Jay Richards
Right.
really lays out a Catholic perspective. It's a win-win situation. You're taking care of your health, but you're also fasting with prayer, for more intensive prayer. And this is what God has called us to do. It's just that, we've gone
Right.
off the wagon. We can't do it anymore. And this is an opportunity this new year to say, hey, there is a way you can do it. It's being done gradually, and you will just love the book. I highly recommend it. It's
Okay, so now here, Eleanor is asking a very good question. Eleanor Rivera, she says, as a diabetic, do you have to be careful of what you're fasting on? We hardly eat rice and I can't read the rest of the question. Well, first of all, Eleanor, I would say, obviously, you have to consult your doctor, especially if you're a type 1 diabetic, on insulin and all that. So again, what I said at the beginning of the program, this is not medical advice. However, just the principles alone of eating healthier, and even for a diabetic, because I have a daughter who's a type 1 diabetic, and I keep coaching her because sometimes she doesn't do the best things nutritionally. All these frozen meals you get in the freezer section of the grocery are not good for you. Just look at the back. It's not just how much fat is in it, how much sugar, how many carbohydrates and all that, and how little in actually dietary fiber is in there. So really the answer here is eat pure and simple. they always say then you shop in what they call the outer aisles of the supermarket only. That's where your dairy section is, your fruits and vegetables, and the back wall is always the meats. And all the inner aisles have all the processed stuff, and you know what I mean? So what you really want to eat as much as possible, fresh fruit and vegetables as much as you can, lean meat. On the keto diet too, you can eat beef, you can eat pork, but in moderation. I mean, and sometimes, like in the morning, I get up, I told you, I do the squeeze in the hot water, but then I make a salad every morning, fresh. I take romaine lettuce, chop, chop, chop. Take a nice cucumber, chop, chop, chop. Take some green pepper, chop, chop, chop. I close that all up. Then in a separate container, okay, I chop up some chicken. Because what I do now is I go to one of those places like Costco and BJ's or wherever where you want to go where they have the cooked chicken. I get that on Sunday. I go there after Mass, get that. And I can eat that chicken, chopping it up for days with my salad, and then I just add some salad dressing. And I have a very, very satisfying lunch. And you know why it's so satisfying too, Mary? And you know this, because you're crunching. When you're chewing like lettuce and cucumbers and green peppers,
Right.
you're really satisfying yourself. It's better than a smoothie. Because a smoothie, you're sucking through the straws and down it goes, and then you still feel like you want to crunch. I mean, I actually had lunch very late today because I had a chiropractor appointment. I didn't eat lunch today till 2:00 from last night. Okay, and I was fine. I didn't have a headache. My tummy wasn't grumbling, and I was crunching. And then at a certain point, I couldn't even finish all my salad because I felt full. Right.
Right. And another thing, misnomer, I think I mentioned it before, was healthy fats are really excellent for you. And we've been
That's right.
told, that it's all about, whole grains, and everybody was on pasta and breads and everything. But healthy fats, really good fats are really
Right.
part of what sustains you.
So that's and
Sometimes
good.
at breakfast, egg, you're going to go for a longer period of time than if you're having pancakes. Okay.
Exactly. And like, for example, when we say healthy fats, let's give everyone some of our list here. That's like olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. And avocados are a great source to add. That's what I did too, Mary. I put avocado on my salad today too. So, I really, really would say that we really want to encourage you. And we want to hear from you. And maybe, about a month from now, Mary and I will come back. We want to hear from you all that are watching, how you're doing, take your questions. I'm feeling so much better. And then in addition to eating healthy, I also take supplements. So just so you don't laugh hysterical, I'm going to ask our producer, let's take a quick picture of Janet's daily supplements. There's my list. I take red yeast, red rice yeast. I take that. It's supposed to lower my cholesterol. I take D3. That's very good to boost your immune system. I'll go over those next two in a minute. I take Omega-3, that's for my brain. I take a probiotic, that's good for my gut. I take milk thistle, and that's good for my liver. I take glutamine, that's for my joints, and I take coenzyme Q10, that's for my heart. And right there in the middle are Balance of Nature fruits and veggies. And thanks to Mary, I added that to my supplements just a few weeks ago. And, people might say, well, Janet, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of investment. And And I say, you know what? I'm feeling great. I can't, through this entire pandemic, I have not been sick. And I have to knock the wood of this chair, but praise God. But why? Eating clean and green and healthy, taking those supplements, and now including this fasting in, I actually can say I'm feeling wonderful. Right, Mary? And aren't you?
Really helps too with the mental clarity. It's amazing. The brain
Right.
fog, because you don't, this is how we do fast actually every day when we sleep. So it's not like
Right.
our bodies can't do it. How the body regenerates and gets, more of the energy to go through the day.
Right.
But, it really is so wonderful in so many different aspects. And when you start reading about, a lot of these diseases, the immune diseases and cancer, you realize that, a lot of what we've been told, okay, is not the way to go. And to really
Right.
improve your health, between the fasting and, more healthy fats and less sugar is really,
Right.
you're going to feel so.
I guarantee you, brothers and sisters, you get up tomorrow morning. If you have a lemon in the house, just try that simple thing in the morning. All right. Squeeze that lemon, boil some hot water, just like your coffee cup, your regular coffee cup. Just put that fresh lemon juice in, fill it with the hot water, and just sip that the way you normally would coffee. Now, I'm not saying you can't have coffee. After you have that, then you have to have your coffee. Even when you're fasting, you can have black coffee, so you can still have your coffee. And then what I love about, Jay Rich's book, this Eat, Fast, and Feast, is that, out of the 7 days a week, you can pick one day as your feast day. Meaning that's your day
Right.
that you can have. Like you want to have pasta, okay, do it on your feast day. You want to have, pizza. All right, so make that the feast day. Have that day, you'll have pasta and pizza and whatever. But then that night after 8 o'clock, gonna not eat. And then what I always do
Also-
after my feast day, that's when I do my fast, right after my feast day.
Because your body will metabolically change. In other words, you will be able to cheat because your body will accept that and then go back to the natural rhythm when you continue in what you usually do every day. Okay. Instead of
Right.
when you're binge dieting, okay, you binge out one day and then all of a sudden you've gained 3 pounds and it doesn't come off. So it really
Right.
is working with your body the way it was designed. That's how God designed us. And what a beautiful thing. It's a win-win.
So Susan's saying all these eating healthy food, working out, my belly fat's still there. Even I run and do stretch workout. Make no mistake, I'm feeling healthy. No funny feeling good every morning. Well, it's first of all, it didn't take us overnight to gain weight. It's not going to be overnight to lose the belly fat and lose everything. It really takes time. Now, one thing I have to admit, okay, and I'm going to admit this is where I'm bad, is exercise. And that's one of the things I'm committing to this year is to exercise every morning, to try to get up and do some stretches and do some things. In fact, I went to a chiropractor today because Monday I got out of bed, because I must have hurt my back the way I got out. So I went to a chiropractor and he said, listen, Janet, your body is so tight because you're not moving. I sit at my desk all day. I used to travel a lot during the pandemic. That's all gone. So one of the things I have to start to do is he's going to show me some stretches to do and start to move. And I have a bicycle in my garage that's still sitting there. I'm going to get out in the morning and try, even if I don't do it every morning, at least 3 mornings a week. And I think that's what we're saying is, we have a lot of bad habits. And what we're saying is, let's start this new year and let's everyone commit to kicking at least a few bad habits out and bring in some good, healthy habits. And like I said, diet and exercise. And this is not a diet, like you're saying, Mary. This is a lifestyle change. And that's what we're asking and encouraging people to do. And also the fact that it's got a religious component, right, Mary? I mean, like, that's the part to me is like the bonus, isn't it?
When you really need the prayers amped up, it's a perfect time to bring in the fast. And you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to, go through the day without eating. And then if you are struggling, you can offer it up to whatever your intention is. And it's amazing how you can get that, get it going.
Okay, and here Liz is saying that her vitamins are a lot because they help her even when she isn't eating. And that's what I have to say too about my supplements. That's fueling my body with extra nutrients so that even when I'm fasting, because on the days I fast, I still take all my supplements on those days too, right? So
again, all the supplements, you always want to check with your doctor and go over, whatever your personal blood work is. Some people need some things, some people don't.
that's
But the
right.
combination of fasting and also what you're eating, whether it be a keto diet or, whatever the doctor recommends, it's all works together as all the components, plus the exercise, of course, because we have to keep moving.
Right.
And you know what, Janet?
Anyway,
Such a good thing going into this new year when we have so much on our hearts that's heavy, okay?
that's
And
right.
then we have
That's right.
on top of it. So it's
That's right.
really, time.
And that's why I'm in this very big mode about continuing this fasting and praying because right now we're up against a big battle here. You know, we've lost the whole balance of power in our government here, and for me, especially here, pro-life movement, that's going to be rough. We're going to have a rough at least 2 more years till we can try to get back the House, and another 4 years beyond that. So, you know, how am I going to wake up every morning and still be energized to do my work here at Priest for Life? It's because I'm going to be praying and fasting and watching what I'm eating, because I want to be around for a while, and I have grandchildren and I want to see them grow up. You know, there's a lot of motivation right now, I think, why, you know, people should really think about, you know, because I know after everything with this election, everyone right now, I think, woke up this morning very upset and depressed. And what we have to say, God doesn't want you to stay in that place. God wants you to turn to him for prayer and fasting. And Mary, I think it's okay if we share. A couple of days ago, we got, remember I mentioned we have 2 friends who are suffering with cancer right now. One's been at it for 2 years, suffering with all kinds of cancer all over her body, different places, so much chemo, radiation. Well, this past weekend, she found out that she contracted COVID-19. All right. And they had to rush her to the hospital because she having trouble breathing. And her husband actually called me the other night in tears because they were going to they moved her from a regular room on oxygen into ICU. And they told him before the night's over, she might be on life support. So I called Mary, and we have a group of friends. We pray together. So we had a Zoom prayer call, didn't we, Mary? A Zoom prayer call. Yes, exactly. We prayed a rosary, Divine Mercy Chapel, and we all made a commitment to pray and fast then the next whole day into the following day for our friends. And guess what?
Right.
They didn't put her on that ventilator. And we got another text message this morning, she's still just in ICU and still on oxygen. So, you know, this really shows, for me, that was to me, Mary, the biggest proof of the prayer and the fasting together. We came together. There was a crisis with our friends, and we all made a commitment. We did the prayers together. And so many of you could do that with Zoom now. Get together and pray together and get your friends to be doing this too. Because I really believe this will take you out of your discouragement right now into joy, because you'll have the joy of the Lord with you. And I think, Mary, you know, just when you think about it, in about another month, even just about, we're going to be at Ash Wednesday. So this will kind of get you ready for Lent. This will really get you in the groove for it, won't it?
You'll be able to do it. If you start the program, I would recommend, again, get the book, follow the program, and you get started. You'll be amazed on Ash Wednesday. You could probably go today. Okay.
Oh, I'm going to fast I'm going to do the true thing, Mary. I'm going to make my feast Tuesday, like the Mardi Gras idea, right? Fat Tuesday. Yeah. And then from 8:00 that night until Thursday, I am going to commit to fast all day on Ash Wednesday. And then, I don't know if I can do that, Mary, but maybe we can cheer each other on. I think they mentioned this in the book. You know, centuries ago, they used to do a fast from Holy Thursday night, right, until after the Easter Vigil. Remember that? It's in the book. Exactly. Yeah. And so maybe, Mary, we can get a whole team of our viewers here. We'll get all together, and maybe we could try it for the Triduum this year. Imagine that? Because that means Good Friday, you'll be fasting all day.
I mean, you start gradually, and it's amazing. You know, Janet thought she was going to wake up the next day with a headache and not feeling well. And she said, you know, it's weird. I really feel great. You know, why is that? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I know.
And it's a gradual process, you know,
gradual
with the intermittent fasting and going. Yeah.
Okay. Well, guess what? I think what we're going to do is, because our time is up now. So I told you about the book. It's Eat, Fast, and Feast by J.W. Richards. I told you, EWTN Religious Catalog or Amazon. And let's do this together. And a lot of the viewers are asking, Mary, they want us to come back and do another program. So we're going to do that, brothers and sisters. I'll have Mary back. Okay. But what we want you guys to do is tell us your questions and tell us your progress when we come back. And let's just do it like 4 weeks from now. We'll mark our calendars. All right. Count like 4 weeks from now. We'll have a program, and let's all check in with each other. And I'm going to ask you during the program, tell us your progress. How are you doing? And let's kind of cheerlead each other on to fast and pray. And let's fast and pray for our nation, our politicians, our government, everything. Let's just fast and pray so that we will still work to protect the unborn and religious freedom and all the things that are so dear to our hearts. So Mary, thank you so much because see, Mary's like my coach, so we can be your coaches, okay?
Right.
So thank you for
Just
joining
do
us.
it.
This is a great time. And now you got a commitment, Mary. We'll have to open up our calendars and book ourselves 4 Thursdays from today. We're on, okay?
Okay. Thanks.
God bless. Well, brothers and sisters, I hope you found this very helpful. And hey, guys, this was for you too. Don't just think your wives or your girlfriends or your sister's going to do it. This is for everybody. It's a lifestyle change that will get you serving the Lord a lot longer. And guess what? Instead of paying all those co-pays to all the doctors, you're going to be feeling so much better. I don't mind spending money on my supplements because now I'm not paying co-payments to all these doctors. I've been feeling great. So this is Janet Marana, Executive Director of Priests for Life. Until next time of Just Ask Janet, thanks for joining us.